Hello everyone, and today we're back into another top 5. And today we're going to talk about the top 5 most underrated Loomians in all of Loomian Legacy. So, these Loomians are often really well hated, but are surprisingly really good. So, let's get right into this top 5 right now. So, number 5 under this list is actually going to be the only good considered Loomian on this list. It is Buzzlin. And this isn't underrated because people think Buzzlin is bad. Buzzlin is actually really good. A lot of people really like Buzzlin. But the reason why it's on this list is because I honestly think it's a lot better than what other people make it out to be. People think Buzzlin is good, but I think it's actually amazing. I mean, Vigorous with 101 speed, with high attack, Buzzlin hits super duper hard. And with great coverage and barter, makes Buzzlin one of the most dangerous threats in the late game. And that's what makes Buzzlin so scary. Like, a lot of people can look at its low melee attack and say, doesn't hit that hard. But it really adds up with Vigorous. And with that coverage in the late game, it makes Buzzlin one of the best late game cleaners in the game. Like, I'm serious when I say Buzzlin is supremely underrated. Like, a lot of people, like, and it's not to think that, but people say Buzzlin isn't good. Buzzlin is pretty good, but I just don't think they don't give Buzzlin enough attention. I think it might be one of the better Varis in the game. I would probably say number 4, number 5 in terms of the top 5 Varis, but, that's just me. Buzzlin, though, at number 5, makes it really good. It's underrated, it's good, and that is it. Number 4 into this list, it's actually going to be Wendolin. And a lot of people considered Wendolin as the worst Vari. And I can see why a lot of people think that. I personally think Servalin is, but, Wendolin is underrated, though. With Dazzling Barrage, it actually makes it stand out compared to Vesperatu. And there are a couple other things that make Wendolin stand out compared to Vesperatu. It's faster, hits harder, and it also I think it hits better as a spirit type. I think as a spirit type, Wendolin is better as a spirit type than Vesperatu. The thing is, Vesperatu is better still. That's why Wendolin's only number 4. Because, Vesperatu is still better, Slap Down and Revival, but it does have a couple perks, which does actually make it a nice alternative. And a lot of people give it a lot of blame, but with Dazzling Barrage, it can hit all those ancient types now, and it's actually supremely underrated. It's not well received, and it honestly has performed pretty well in the battles I tried it out with. So yeah, Wendolin, number 4. And it definitely is deserved onto this list. Number 3 on the most underrated Loomians is actually going to be a pre-evolution. It's going to be Copperage. And yeah, this might be very shocking for y'all to be on the list. And I know what you're thinking. Why not just use Oxydrake? Oxydrake has better defenses, more attack, more health, and everything. Oxydrake is a great attacker with solid defense. But you know what Copperage does better? Driving Force. It is one of the best Driving Force users in the game, mainly because it has better bulk on the range side, so it can tank more hits consistently. That's what makes Copperage good. That's why it's underrated. A lot of people would never use Copperage because, they would just use Oxydrake. But it's honestly a better Driving Force user than Oxydrake, and the reasons are wise. One, with Oxydrake's higher attack, you want to run Steel Crusher to hit to clips and light types. You want to run those moves. When with Copperage is bulkier on the range side, can tank the hits better, and also, could just sit there on the field longer. You can run Playful with Sharpen if you really want to, and you can make Carolyn actually hit all his attacks, which is huge. It can be used as a bait user, and it could also be used with, Oxidize. But yeah, Copperage. It's one of the best Driving Force users in the game, and extremely underrated. It definitely is one of the most underrated pre-evolutions in the game. And not just pre-evolutions. I think it's one of the most underrated overall because it's so good with driving force. It will get nerfed in the future, though, unfortunately. It will only get rough up, but let's enjoy driving force while it has now. So, let's get right into number 2. So, on number 2 onto this list, it's actually going to be Terra Claw. And a lot of people give Terra Claw a lot of bugging. Get it? Bugging. Well, it's because it's a bug type. Bug types are weak to traps, and also Vanillin exists. But there are a bunch of perks that makes Terra Claw better. Better overall tank, so it is better tanky on both sides. It has better range defense and better melee defense, so it can take hits on both sides really well. It has better coverage than Vanillin. It can hit a bunch of different typings. Parasitize is an attacking move that heals you. Yeah, you can hit metal types with Rough Up. You can hit water types with Baneful Bash. And you can hit fire types with Cyclone Slam. You got so much coverage, and that's what makes Terra Claw so good. And it can tank so many super effective range hits. Like, let me just give you this. Terra Claw can tank 2 Brain Freezes from a Wintrix. From a Wintrix! 2 Brain Freezes. That is insane. And also, you know, it's the best Eclipse counter in the game, and no range attacker can actually go through this thing. This thing is so dangerous, and if you can predict the swap, Terra Claw becomes one of those dangerous threats in the matter of seconds. Terra Claw is extremely underrated. The reason why it's only number 2 is because it's basically relied to have Health Amulet, but you know, even if you don't have it, it'll be okay. But it really does need the Health Amulet to be really good. But it's so good with it that it's definitely worth trying at least once. Because Terra Claw has clutched out so many saves in the past for me. It's amazing how many clutch saves I've had because of Terra Claw. Like, it's seriously underrated. And I know I don't really talk about underrated Loomians that much, but I always have Terra Claw constantly on my team. So it's because of this reason. Clutches up, tanks really well, and great coverage to predict the swap. So, the number 1 and the most underrated Loomian is Luxor. A lot of people considered Luxor as one of the worst Loomians in the game. And it has Illuminate, and it hits very hard. But in the past, it couldn't hit plant types. You could have a Feevine beat a Luxor. And even though it got Fire Breath, like, months ago, like, I think it was 10 months ago, Luxor's reputation was tainted. A lot of people still haven't got over that fact with Luxor. When, in reality, Luxor is one of the best heavy hitters in the game. And it's actually clutched up in this battle. This was my last Loomian. And it actually 3-0'd this guy's team, which is insane. He hits that hard. Luxor is a monster. Like, that's the thing. It hits so hard with Raging Cow, and with Fire Breath, it can hit not only the plant types it couldn't hit in the past, it could even hit those metal types. You know, the type it's weak to, it only has 2 weaknesses. It can hit both of those, and it's amazing. I absolutely love Luxor, and every time I use him, it shocks me every single time. It's ripping through Vanillins, it's ripping through Tyrexes, it's ripping through Zeppelins, it's ripping through Wintrixes. It's amazing. It's one of the most underrated Loomians in the game, and even though it recoils itself, it doesn't matter at the long run because that wall is dead. So, that is Luxor, the most underrated Loomian in all of Loomian Legacy. And honestly, I can consider it one of the top wall breakers in the entire game. So yeah, and here it is, Luxor, the most underrated Loomian in the entire game. And I know that a lot of people are going to have some different opinions on it because a lot of people use these Loomians a lot differently. A lot of people use different Loomians, and a lot of people experience Loomians differently. So, y'all list on the top 5 most underrated Loomians will be different. I hope you guys enjoyed this video of this top 5. More of these will definitely come out in the future, and I will see y'all all later. Bye-bye!